Pelicans win 124-116, get on a 3-game winning streak. Very interesting game. We're going to talk about it right now.
First took away. Yes, but this. Get your money's worth now.
Brought to you by the Scott Vicknair Injury Law Firm. If you've been hurt in any kind of accident, car, truck, 18-wheeler, or hurt offshore, Scott Vicknair handles it all. Give him a call at 504-500-1111 for free consultation. They always fight for the win, and as always, presented by 4D Energy. Chaz, 5, Chris joined the show tonight. We'll be a little bit, kind of a quick show, about 30, 45 minutes, but I thought there was a lot to talk about tonight, guys. Before joining the
we got
show.
Mr. T.
Ross is in the building here. Jarrett and Chaz, and we were talking about it, but Chris and Ross joined the show as well. But Chaz, like tonight, like look, I understand about the tanking and everything like that, but that was an entertaining game. Mm-hmm. I saw things that you can be optimistic moving forward. I've been talking about Carlo. You've been talking about the corner threes. Trey Murphy had a great run there in the first quarter. Zion Williamson is clearly playing some of the best basketball we've seen in a long time, obviously dropping his first triple-double tonight. Once again, drops a triple-double, Chaz, but goes 13 of 17 from the field. That is about as efficient as possible.
31 minutes. I gotta be the fly in the soup. You gotta get those free throws together, bro. 25% from the free throw line ain't gonna cut it. But all that being said, a game like this, I'm truly not mad at the win. I'm pretty sure you'll see several guys sitting tomorrow. And this is like the softer part of the schedule, especially once Wemby went down. The Suns, they suck, and everything you hear about their locker room is bad right now. Yeah. So I ain't really tripping. I think it's very important you get the data, right? You need to know what Zion looks like as the alpha on the team. And I think you're seeing him look incredibly impressive. I think he got the Suns number, honestly. It was like Booker got the Pelicans number. Zion got the Suns number. And every time you play him, it's just more and more impressive. I thought he probably could have got like 14, 15 assists. Truthfully, I think Messi had to miss 4 dunks tonight. I ain't never seen this many missed dunks in a single game from both teams. But yeah, Carlos shot well from beyond the arc. I thought tonight was a quality game for several reasons. I think with Phoenix potentially blowing it up, I think Devin Booker probably looking like, you know what? Maybe it'd be nicer to be closer to home, And yeah, man. And last thing, because I was talking about Carlo, and some people in the Frisbee community, they had things to say, and I know they're used to catching things with their mouth, so just keep my name out of it. And shout out to Carlo, that's my son. It's genetics.
Jarrett. Obviously, Zion Williamson's first triple-double of his career. Kind of shocking that it happened 6 years in, but
get that live, y'all. What up, everybody?
10 rebounds, 11 assists. I think it's a career high. Ties a career high in assists with 11. Is this some of the best basketball? Obviously the best basketball, like some of the most efficient basketball you've seen Zion play in his career?
Yeah, man. I need Zion to keep getting tattoos, bro. That's what I need from Zion. Keep getting tattoos, man, because it seems like whatever energy you're getting from the tattoo, you displaying it on the floor. Seems like an idea that you should, continue to push forward. But yeah, just a complete game of basketball from Zion. Probably the last 4 or 5 games, probably a couple weeks. What we've seen from him, even just post All-Star break, he's just more aggressive. He's like starting to like pick his spots. And I think that's the thing that I'm liking to see from him. Understanding like who's guarding him, what are the advantages. Like he saw Nick Richard today. I keep saying Richard, like I'm really Louisiana in me, right? And he was like, "No, this dude fool." And he know I'm going left and ain't nothing he can do about it. So I just think that Zion's starting to see that, it's my team. I get to do whatever the hell I want to do, and he's putting his best foot forward.
Chris, do you think now that it's Zion's team, do you think there's a different type of energy with him? That Jarrett brought that up. Like, it's clearly Zion's team. Do you think there's a different energy now with him?
Got to be. Sometimes you really don't know what you're capable of until you're in a situation where you when you're forced to, to do something. I was talking, recording a show with Grub earlier today. Shout out to Grub. That'll be out tomorrow. And one of the comparisons that he brought out that I forgot about, but makes a lot of sense and kind of brought things full circle to me a little bit was, y'all remember when Boogie got hurt and Pelicans were kind of they had a stretch where they were kind of trying to find their way post Boogie, and out of nowhere, AD just went crazy. AD went crazy, and we saw maybe the first like dominating part of him where he was just a feature. It was him and Drew, but it was really all about him. They won like 8-9 straight, and like that's what it kind of like reminds me of. It's like we know that Zion can be dominant. We've seen him do it. We've seen him do it with Brandon on the floor, Brandon off the floor, but it's different now where now everything is being put on his shoulders. Everything is being like he is the focal part. Every game, he doesn't have to worry about someone else coming back from injury and taking his usage, taking the ball out of his head. He doesn't have to worry about multiple teams being built. It's literally built around him. And you gotta see going forward. You have to sell out on the thought of whether or not he can be a carrier. If he can carry your team and your franchise to wins, if he can carry your team and franchise to a level of success. Because if not, it's a failure. And you see tonight was another example of like there's maybe 5 to 7 guys, and it might not even be that many, but at least 5 players that are capable of lifting a team or lifting a talent group like Zion.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't mean to stop your wisdom, but shout out to Games Osborne, Corey, everybody. Shout out to everybody in the building. We got 54 likes on 210 people watching. Look, I'm not in the best of mood, so if I got to get difficult with you,
just smash the like button.
Just hit the like button, y'all. This shit can go left.
Ross, so obviously we talk a lot about Zion, but before we got on the show, me and Chaz and Jarrett were talking about it. Like, obviously you want to tank, but tonight I didn't mind the win because I saw an entertaining brand of basketball. I saw Zion Williamson being the focal point. I saw Zion Williamson taking over. I saw Carlo Makovich really being a bright spot, dropping a double-double, starting next to Zion Williamson, something I wanted to see. Obviously, Yves Missy struggled, but then Trey Murphy had a great first quarter. Like, I think there are positives. Obviously, you want to lose as much, but tonight with the win, I feel like there's a lot of positives to take away from this game. But you had said something in the text message saying that this would be the worst win of the year. You still stand by that? Just
because I said a few weeks ago, I'm perfectly fine with them winning some of these games. Like I think it's inevitable. We knew when Zion came back that they were going to start winning some of these games. So it's not that I mind that they won, especially the way they played and you did get to see some positives. But you are where you're at, right? Like you're still at the very bottom of the league, and you're at that point in the year where kind of it's March, or I guess tomorrow or whenever this weekend it's March. It's like it's time to start really looking at the standings and making sure that you finish the season where you need to finish it. Like it's just an unfortunate reality, right? Like, and I think that's why I say that it's beating the Spurs without Wemby, beating Utah when they sit everybody. Like those are games I'm like, hey, they're probably going to win those games. This was one where I'm like, wouldn't have hated to see a loss here just to maintain where you're at in the standings. But overall, I'm with you. I mean, I guess the one thing I wanted to bring up to you guys is, and y'all might remember something I don't, but 3 games in a row where they've started, I don't even know what position you want to say they're starting Zion at. I don't think it matters. I think what matters is that they have 2 power forward / centers that have started with him. I think the previous 2 games it was Olynyk and Yves, and tonight it was obviously Carlo. We've all talked ad nauseum about how we wanted to see Zion play with a taller player that could shoot. I mean, I wouldn't say Olynyk and Carlo are the elite versions of that, but they're certainly a version. And the results haven't looked bad. Is there something to this, or is this just? random
what I want
noise.
to see? You know what I want to see? I think this is a great time to test things out. Like, I want to see Olynyk, Carlo, and Zion start in the front court. I want to see it. Give Eves a night off. Let me see where we can go. Because look, Olynyk can rebound. Olynyk can rebound. Carlo can space the floor. What does that look like? Am I completely off on that? Because here's my thing: if you're going to test certain things out, now is the time to do so. And Ross, you're clearly on. They obviously start the double bigs around Zion because I think Zion is technically the 3 now. Would you say? And it's been somewhat successful. So I'm interested to hear y'all's thoughts on
that. Can I show y'all the play real quick?
Yeah.
Justin and Chaz specifically, y'all gonna love this.
Shit, you uploading film now. Huh. What is Bol doing?
Yeah, he was tripping like a motherfucker.
I just wanted to show another Zion post, but hey, man, I mean, and I don't know why Bo decided to
especially in that situation. Well, I think Zion had scored like 2 times in a row or something
right,
maybe.
Right, but Royce was already coming over to help, so maybe it was a breakdown of sorts, but
see those I don't mind, Chris. Like those intermediate posts where he's not actually on the block, he's just 15 foot, 17 feet away from the basket. It creates more room.
Yes,
just creates more space. So like he scored a couple times, so the help is coming. So like you're gonna get 6 eyes on the basketball from the defensive side. That creates an advantage, right? That's all you're trying to do. So it's not necessarily like the post ups that I think Chaz was, talking about. No, it's like when you do it. Like he ain't scored.
Starting off the game, you mean?
He started off the game.
He's got it going now, right? Yeah.
What are we thinking?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
No, I'm finished. Chaz, go ahead, bro.
Well, my point mainly like that's not how you play. And like if you notice, like the entire game, that's probably his second post up of the entire game. So I'm like, what changed from the last 2 games till tonight? Now you're playing totally different. Like it's just, I don't.
But that's that's always been the gripe, right? Jared's been saying that for 3 years now. But I'm still interested in this double big lineup. I want to hear thoughts on this because I want to see Olynyk and Carlo next to Zion. Think about it. You go Zion, CJ, Carlo, Olynyk, and Trey. That's 4 shooters around Zion with length, and you can rebound.
It's wild. Like I still don't believe like Carlo is like a legit NBA player. Like again, he plays for the Pelicans. Anybody can get on the court at that point. But he does have skills that can be developed. And like I always said, he had a nice jumper. It always looked good, right? And also like he just can't screen. So there are things where like Carlo needs to truly improve on. Sure. But if you put him in situations where, hey, we're just going to keep the game super simple, you're catching, shooting, you're shooting corner threes, picking pops, then you can look at that and be like, okay, we need to go find somebody that, can replicate these skills at a higher level, right? And then, it'll be a better thing to look at. Naz Reid is definitely somebody that I've been, raising my hand for that the Pelicans should look at. But I would like to see Trey at the 4, if possible.
So Zion, Trey, who's your 5? I think Eves should be coming off the bench here with Olynyk and Carlo playing.
I'm just thinking about in the future, right? Like I would like to see Trey at the 4.
I'll say this, Jared. Trey, I mean, he was getting cooked by KD in the 3rd, but in the 4th, crunch time. I mean, everyone gets cooked. It's Kevin Durant. I get it. In the 4th, though, he had a couple good defensive possessions.
Talking about Trey? Yeah.
He's gotten way better defensively.
Oh yeah. The effort's there. Yeah, for sure.
I was gonna say, are we at the point, and maybe you guys have been there, but like where Zion doesn't like, I don't believe that he actually requires a position.
No,
because
he doesn't.
Because what he's gonna do on offense is what it is, and you're gonna build around that. And on defense, I think he's going to guard or he should, in my opinion, guard whoever the worst player on the other team is. Some nights it might be a 5, some nights it might be the point guard, whoever for the most part is just going to hang out in the corner, like that's who Zion I think is
See, I
probably
hate
going to
that.
guard.
I personally hate that because I
And
think
so
Zion likes a challenge.
And that's great. And I'm not saying that there's points of the game where he won't be required to guard someone. But I'm saying when you're building out like a starting unit, I don't think for me, Zion is last. Like you're building an offense. Like you're not saying, oh, Zion has to play the 4 or like we really need Zion to play the 5. I think you're building the best, whatever the hell that looks like.
Yeah.
And right now we're talking about this crazy odd lineup of 2 random white, like European or I guess Linux Canadian or whatever. But like you get what I'm saying.
Anglo-Saxon.
Now Ross, think about, but see that puts him in special company, right? Because think about maybe a handful of players that you can think about like that, to where it's like, it really doesn't matter what position he's at. We'll just build around there. I mean, like that's what's so. It's beyond just necessarily frustrating, but the other side of it is that if he's completely bought in now and no more freak injuries and he's taking care of himself, this is what comes with it, to where you can be talking about a dude to where it's beyond easy to pencil in a lineup that's going to fit, because he is the fit, like he is the identity. You know, like we've been talking about, one of the reasons that the Pelicans couldn't create an identity for so long is because they've been building two different teams. And then it's Zion, it's Brandon, it's CJ, it's DeJounte, it's all these other things, versus now, well, Zion is the fucking identity.
Yep.
So like he's going to determine the way you play now, which I'm hoping should be a domino effect from there, from how you build the team and what kind of players you want to put around them going forward.
You know, I still don't think you necessarily have to like build around Zion, because I just think you don't have a lot of talent on the team. Like you don't have a lot of like skilled players. It's, like, to me, like let's say a guy like Herb, for example, or Hawkins. I think a Herb fits on a lot of teams. I think Herb fits with Zion. He probably doesn't fit with Zion, Messi, and another guy who can't shoot.
Right.
But like, or even like a Hawkins, for example, I don't think he fits anywhere. Or like you got like certain players who I just don't think they necessarily are productive, no matter like what you do with them. You know what I mean? So I really just think you got to get some offensive, like skilled players on this team. Like you got to get, like, just to me, just get some skilled players. Like I was watching some guys from the draft last night, and I was just like, wow, Trey Johnson may not be a strong defender, but he's Cam Thomas offensively, and I'm like, Cam Thomas is extremely skilled. He's an extremely skilled offensive player. So like, there's a lot of like Joker, like there's a lot of guys who have skills. The Pelicans just don't have a ton of skilled guys, and I think that's what makes it so difficult to really imagine what the team needs. Because when you zoom out, you can say, well, fuck, they need everything. You need a point guard. You need more shooting. You need a starting caliber center. Like, it's just a lot of things that they seemingly need. I think even if Zion was out of the picture.
Jared, do you think this is an interesting point here? Like, appreciate your comment, because he says we need to stay healthy like a motherfucker. And I feel like they've kind of found a sweet spot here with Zion. With 28, how many minutes he get tonight? 31, right? Between 28 and 32 minutes a night is whereas maybe 26, 32 minutes a night. Zion has been extremely efficient. He's playing both sides of the floor. He's rebounding. He's facilitating. Obviously, he drops his first triple-double tonight. Like, do you think this is something moving forward that they can take into the 2025-2026 season? Or do you think this is just kind of like, we're trying to tank, we're not,
Yeah, no. I think this is the plan probably post New Year's, right? They were creating a new aerobic floor for Zion. Remember, he was upset about being pulled, out of games early. Like he wanted to finish the game, and like, this is their plan. I just got to go. This is the team's plan. I got to go with it. Now he's bearing the fruit of that plan. Like finally, the plan that somebody put forth was like, this is working for me. I'm in better shape. I look better. I feel better. I'm getting new tattoos. Like it's all working for my benefit. So I think Zion and the team is benefiting from this new style, and I think, next year his minutes will, increase, right? But he'll have a new baseline of this is what Zion is at level 0. Now we need to increase that moving forward.
And Chris, this is obviously the $1 million question here. Can Zion keep this momentum going through an offseason?
Look, typically, I want to be pessimistic about it, right? But if there's something about him coming back from this recent hamstring injury in great shape to me. I mean, he wasn't I don't think he continued to lose some additional weight from them. But that game against Minnesota, it wasn't like he was coming back to save the franchise. It wasn't like they were already a bad team when he came back. They were already tons and tons of games behind any type of play-in contention. So to me, for a dude that traditionally always has setbacks after these kind of injuries, if Zion is penciled to miss more than 2 weeks, 2 weeks turns into 2 months all the time. He came back around the time originally was projected, and then he came back in great shape. He didn't have to play, he was ready to play 30 minutes that first night against Minnesota. So to me, and if you're gonna do that in a situation where you have nothing to play for, almost, you're just doing that to get back. You're doing that for yourself. You're doing that to, I feel like what happens during an offseason, well, now once again he's motivated by knowing what he has to prove already, what's around him, everything being it being his team, and maybe he's reaching a different level of maturity because. I can't think of every time Zion's come back from injury, and even with off seasons, he's typically having to work back for something. This was the first time in which he came back and he was in really good shape. So that's telling me if he can do that in season, I feel a little bit better given the circumstances now about what he'll do this off season leading to next year.
That's a good point. Ross, what's your thought? Appreciate the super chat, Michael. What are your thoughts on this comment of why are starters playing heavy minutes? Because it is a valid question, but you do need to get data on this team.
I mean, they're trying to win. Willie is still coaching
you
these
think
games.
They or Willie Green's trying to win?
I think both. I think the players that he's putting out there are trying to win the games.
The players are trying to win the game.
I think Willie Green is 100% coaching this as if, I guess as if his job's on the line. But he's and he's coaching like his job is on the line. And to be fair, who else is he supposed to play?
You can look. Jamal Cain can get 20. Antonio Reeves to get a good 15 minutes. You can cut down Trey Murphy's 36 minutes.
I hear you. It's half. They're still very much playing these games to win. Why? I'm not sure, but they are. And the other half is I think I don't need to see Kane play, really.
I think, truthfully, it's still all about collecting data and looking at the schedule. That's why I keep saying, if you zoom out, you look at that March schedule, this is the easiest part of the Pelicans schedule so far, just because the Suns been unbelievably bad, and then Wembanyama gets hurt. But if you compare them to other teams, like the Raptors, they play the Jazz 2 or 3 times. They play the Jazz 2 times. They play the Wizards back-to-back games. They play the Hornets. The Hornets play these teams are going to cannibalize one another no matter what. So I still think the Pelicans finish 4th or what have you, in the thing. But truthfully, everything's about the same. Even if you
Big Crew stat guy said he had a great stat. I'm looking for it. He gave the percentages. It was first 3 is 14%. Number 4 is 12.5.
Yeah.
And then number 5 is 10. I was like, when you say it like that.
The issue is if you believe that this is a 2-player draft. I think this is a 2 superstar draft, but I think they're some very good players. And I don't want to fall. I don't want to fall to 8. But personally, anything out of the top 3 or 4, I'm trading it any motherfucking way. Like if Trey Johnson and VJ not there or Ace don't slide, I think there's a serious possibility that he falls in the draft. Like to me, the draft pick was like the icing on the cake. No matter what, I'm trying to trade for a real deal bona fide star somewhere because I still need a point guard. I still need a starting caliber big. I still need a reliable second unit. I still need some cheap shooting. I'm still in cap hell. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's a lot about data. Like kudos to Zion. Zion played extremely well, but this is Zion's fault. If Zion fucking plays, if he's at 35 games right now, 40 games right now, nobody tripping. They like, all right, let's pull the plug on the season, y'all. We got all the data we need. If they traded Brandon in the offseason and this went the way it went with the injuries, nobody's tripping. They pull the plug, it's over. Since the Pelicans didn't start off trying to tank, that's the difference between them and all the other teams. Like Emmanuel quickly got hurt immediately. The Jazz were absolutely tanking, like no matter what. But they got a bunch of data on their guys. They know how Laurie looks with Kyle and Sexton and John Collins. They already know how these guys look. The Raptors, they still playing all they dudes. You know what I'm saying? They traded. Well, I don't know. They traded for Brandon, so they really trying to tank. But they still playing, most of their guys. Charlotte, LaMelo gets hurt. What's your boy? And Grant Williams tears his ACL. Now Brandon Miller's hurt. So they kind of like, well, fuck, everybody hurt. We don't need a ton of data, but they still playing some of their guys. So I think when you zoom out and look at everything, like Cam Johnson is still playing. Sharp they just beat yesterday, man. No, they had a 20-point lead in OKC. OKC walked them down. Yeah. But yeah, overall, I just think I would say fuck the draft. The draft is cool because you're still putting a lot of pressure on a rookie. You need to go get some talent,
dude. You need some.
Dudes. You need facts.
All right, so I got it. Look, I can't believe there's over 300 people in this room. Y'all,
what's the likes looking like, y'all? What's the likes looking like?
Presented by 4D. Also, shout out to this whole network: Lala, Jake, U5, Lido. Sponsored by Blue Moon, now the official beer Propels Talk. So shout out to y'all. I do have to bring this up though. Denver, thank you for your comment. Thank you for your support. But just because Carlo had a good night,
you disagree?
We can't. Carlo had a good night. We can't just jump to Giannis.
He could be talking about a different Giannis. Have you considered that?
We got a temper.
That's true too. That's true too, bro.
He didn't give he didn't provide a last name, so I'm to be in.
It could be a little delusional, Denver, but I appreciate your comment. I appreciate you watching. That's a heck of a comment. Yeah.
We have 125 likes. If we get the 200 likes, I'll get y'all a story.
I've been giving Carlo his flowers tonight, Luke. Okay, I literally spent my time out of my day yesterday to look up his corner 3 stats and even posted a video. Okay, Carlo's playing well.
It was only 8 of them motherfuckers.
Fuck, try to find it.
You can put that in a reel. Yeah. Or YouTube short. Yo, we need like at least like 300 likes. I know everybody hit the like. Yo, we get the 200 likes, man. I got a story for y'all. So let's get the 200 likes, y'all. Hit the button. Stop acting like some bitches, man.
200. Need 200.
Like, what the fuck?
What y'all want to talk about next? Anything?
So some people have some interesting questions, man. What do you think? Let's say if they do retain Bruce Brown, right? This hypothetically, where do you think Herb fits on this roster?
That's a good question.
Let's say he's shooting 35% from the corner. I'm gonna give him 35.
Who, Bruce or Herb?
Herb.
He doesn't. Like that's.
Wait, to start next year? So we're talking about next year? Just to start the season next year?
When you say to start the next year, my bad, Chris, you mean is he healthy to start the season?
Yeah, like where he fits in next year. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Like if he's on the roster, if you keep Bruce Brown.
I think.
Is CJ on the roster? Sorry.
Yes.
You think so? Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah. I mean, especially now with them not having them being shallow at guard and missing, like DeJounte's going to miss
till January,
a few months. Nah, but I mean, look, man. I mean, I think Herb's one of those blue guys that's going to find his way, man. I think he's going to make impactful plays. And this goes back to the Zion thing. I think if this is the Zion that we're talking about, you're gonna care less and less about some of the role players that are there. You might want upgrades and you might want better fits of different archetypes. But if this is Zion and he's healthy and he's right, it's going to matter less and less. I think that, look, if Herb's shooting 29%, yeah, it sucks. But now, like, you getting a chance. No one was thinking about tonight. Well, who's guarding Booker? Who's guarding KD? Like, it didn't matter. They still won, yeah. Right? They still won. So, I'm hoping that's even an added a lift of pressure off of Herb's shoulders to where, well, if this is the lineup, if you're finding some sense of consistency with this new era of the Pelicans, well, Herb, all the pressure isn't on you to lock down whoever the best player is. You just go out there and hoop, bro. But on top of that, I do think that Herb, Trey, and Zion have good synergy together. I think they always have had good synergy on and off the floor, and I think that matters. Look, that contract, bro, we're talking $12, $13 million. I think it fits, and I think he's a winning basketball player. Is it a finishing piece? Is he going to take this team over the top? Could he be packaged to get a bigger piece at some point? Surely, but I think he fits.
Yeah.
What's Bruce's contract? Anybody?
He's expiring.
He's on expiring.
Olynyk's
got $13 million next year.
But I don't know how you necessarily like upgrade Herb, right? Like, are you going to package him to go get something else, or is there like a player that you think is?
I think you gotta package him. I think
that's what I was saying.
Just
Chaz,
because like this
all
offseason
get a big
player.
Well, Chaz, you said you want to get a big player,
yeah.
So you get top 4 pick.
Or even if you don't get a big player, even if I'm like,
let's just say Devin Booker. Let's just say Devin Booker.
No, but I'm saying even if I'm like, well, give me like 2 or 3 good. I package him with
Dudes.
CJ or somebody, and give me this 2 or 3 like really good solid players versus Herb.
See, that'd be the thing, right? Like my synopsis about it would be like it would have to be like a really good player, like a great player to move off Herb. It could only have to be that, because I do think Herb's a winning basketball player. I've been saying it for a while. For sure. He is impactful. Now, your problem was Brandon and Zion necessarily didn't work. So that made Herb's job, his responsibilities compounded consistently, and you see him fall off. You're like, okay, well, he had so much given to him to pause, like to figure it all out. Like, of course he was gonna fail. He had a torn rotator cuff trying to shoot through that, although it's his opposite hand, it's still messing with his shooting a little bit. I do think he is an impactful player. You just gotta put him in a situation that also benefits him rather than him trying to benefit everybody else. Like, you gotta be some balance to it.
I want to hear your thought, and you as well, Justin, because I'm kind of taking what's happening right now with the team as fool's gold. Like, truthfully, like, so that's why I'm kind of like, well, y'all ain't beat nobody good yet,
right? And
y'all just like, I still think this team sucks. So, and I think if Herb was there, honestly, I think, look, I said this before. I think Herb like the Mia X of the tank. As soon as Herb got hurt, I was like, oh man, he gonna fuck up the tank, because Herb was bad this year. Like, yeah, he was playing hurt, but all right, that's a lot of money. Get up, millionaire. You'll be all right. But Ross, what do you think? You think where do you think Herb fits in all this?
I mean, it just kind of depends for me. I don't think Herb is like a bad, like, he's an NBA player.
Of course.
I think I've said this a few times now, like, everyone except for Trey and Zion this summer, like, we'll see. We'll see. Because I just don't think there's anything that can't be replaced of the others. Like, I think if you can upgrade anywhere, you should absolutely be trying to upgrade. So from that perspective, like, yeah, I mean, like if Herb is part of that transaction, so be it. At the same time, like if Herb is your 8th best player, like that's probably okay. Like that's a nice Swiss Army knife that could come off the bench. And this year, I think we all thought that he was going to come off the bench, and we never really saw anything of like remotely close to that because everybody got hurt, and he ended up having to again take on a larger responsibility. That like we've really never seen Herb be able to play like probably what he needs to do, which is to be a Swiss Army knife off the bench. So I'm not going to say he doesn't have a place on the team, because I don't necessarily believe that to be true. And I don't think his contract is that bad either. But in my opinion, I'm saying he's probably best served as like a 7th or 8th player on the roster. And with how much we all agree they need to upgrade going into next year, if Herb is a casualty of those upgrades, I'm not going to lose sleep over that either.
Well, Justin, the context for it is if you bringing back Bruce Brown, because to me that's the context. Because now it's too many players.
Yeah, it's the same. Well,
and you still got Brandon Boston, you still got Antonio Reeves.
Chaz,
I don't know. Yeah,
Chaz, how much is Bruce Brown going to cost you next year?
I think Bruce Brown will cost you at least $10 million next year. Even if it's just for like so you can trade it later. Right. He's probably not like
what's
a part
the point
of
having Bruce Brown and Herb Jones on the bench, or on the same? As you said, like we have too many of the same players. Like pick one or the other.
Yeah, but see, like I don't think Herb with the injury. Of course, I don't know if Herb's getting traded or not, especially not at that point. But I'm just saying, the production you get from certain guys, even in the best case scenarios, it starts to get expensive when you start being serious about contending. Because again, Jose about to make 4.5 next year. You're gonna have Brandon Boston on the books next year, probably gonna be making a little bit more than the minimum, probably maybe about $3 million. Hawkins 4.7. That's a major overpay. You know what I'm saying? You got you still got to sign your rookie. Trey's money kicks in. You got about 2 roster spots to fill, if I'm not mistaken. You don't have a starting caliber big. You carrying over Kelly Olynyk's $13 million. Like the roster gets expensive for the role players, and you got about
Herb's like really some of your only movable salary.
You got about $40+ million injured to start the season. DeJounte and Herb. So
to answer your question, I like Herb Jones, like one of my favorite basketball players. Like he will fit on any NBA roster. Now.
I'm sorry. One last point. Herb only got 2 years left also on that deal. So you kind of
2 years at what? What's the
14 and 15.
Yeah, so
give or take.
If there's something on NBA draft night, or there's a star out there, like you're gonna have to give up Herb Jones. You might have to give up your top 4 pick, CJ, and package him with CJ. We just talked about the Chaz. Like
that was gonna be my question. Is what if your option? I think your question, Chaz, was if you have Bruce Brown, is there a spot for Herb? Let me ask that a different way. Mm-hmm. Would you rather like Herb, Bruce Brown, and another similar-ish type, call it guard, or would you rather have CJ? Like if those were your options going into next year, you could move off CJ, replace him with some other guard that's decent, and you bring back Bruce at 10 mil, and you still got Herb at 4. Would you rather that congregation of players or CJ on an expiring? And Herb,
I would probably rather CJ, just because. Go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna continue that point. I'll follow up.
No, I probably rather CJ just because I'm also taking into account I got a fucking rookie I need to play.
Right.
Like so, it's just. Like it's so much I need to add to this team, and I got so many guys to where I already know what these guys are. So, like, and I can't say necessarily, well, if Zion here, the rising tide lifts all boats, because that tide ain't always, it's a drought sometimes. So I just need some really, really talented players, even if it's like. Well, who's gonna pay? Like, even if it seems redundant, I need like some talent at a certain point.
Don't resign Bruce Brown. I mean,
That's the easiest.
just
literally
over
jump shot.
some because it's a really nice center free agent class for the type of shit that the Pelicans need.
Huh. Let me look
It's
that
some
up.
decent. It's some decent fits that may not cost them an arm and a leg. I just think Herb makes your basketball team better, man.
Yeah.
Now you definitely need other things, but it's not like they can just go to one store and get it all,
Right.
Either. So, I mean, I think no matter what, they're coming into the season with some type of roster flaw.
You got so
Multiple,
center
probably.
to your point, Chris, centers available in free agency: Brooke Lopez, Capella, Turner, Reed, Naz Reed, Steven Adams, Mo Wagner, Horford, Kevon Looney, Andre Drummond, Dwight Powell, Mason Plumlee, and then it gets meh after
I
that.
think
But
you
still a lot
only-
of options.
I think you only have about 15 million realistically, because you got to sign. You got to give. We don't even know Brandon Boston contract really about to be next year. So you got Brandon Boston, then you got to sign your draft pick, and you got several like holes to fill on the roster. So that's why it's like. I don't know, man. It is some guys just starting to look like luxuries. Like,
Sure.
Oh, before we answer this one, I think the perfect time to trade Herb would be
Sharp knife.
like before the trade deadline this coming season, right? You allow him to build up his value, see where you are. I don't think you should do it prematurely. This is, I think Ross said this a bunch of times. This is like the worst value of Herb we're going to get, right? Like at least let him get some of that back, unless it's all of it, and then kind of make that decision then, not now.
But man, Jared, I just vividly remember, like, it just drives me insane because we said the same shit about Brandon. We said the same thing about Herb. If like you were thinking about moving off of Herb, you would want to do it this offseason at his highest peak. And once again, David Griffin is doing the exact same thing.
I think
literally his trade value going down.
I think even with his injury, a team would just be like,
of course, yeah.
Yeah,
but
like,
bro, at 42%, coming off one of his best seasons.
No. I'm not. I'm talking about because you realistically you wasn't gonna move Herb this offseason, but like this upcoming offseason is now when you like, all right, look, you probably not even starting, honestly, and
That's
not
what I
only
was
you're not
thinking.
starting. Okay,
So
but
you think CJ starts over Herb next year when DeJounte hurt? With DeJounte hurt, you think CJ starts over Herb?
you have to, because what does starting Herb do for you? Like,
what gives you a prime defender with Zion?
Yeah, but you're not stopping anybody as a team.
Herb wasn't stopping nobody this year, really.
But it's
like,
not, but the thing,
it ain't just him though. But yeah.
Like you putting Herb in a situation where he's the only one trying to play defense,
right?
Like that's tough, and especially against these dudes that are super skilled. Like that can't be every night where he's trying to. You guard KD, Book the same game, then you gonna guard Shea the next game, and then you gonna fuck around guard Ja the next game. Like, well, damn. Is anybody else gonna do this job outside of him? Like
think about this also. They telling you we going with a too big lineup.
Yeah.
We trash at defending and we trash at rebounding. They should have bended this, right? But they going at better late than never. They going with a too big lineup. I think you already got your starting fours on the roster. Like you got a nice rotation of starting fours. You can start Olynyk. You can start what's my boy name? Like if you want the spot start Carlo, you can start Trey. It's a number of things you can do at the four.
Currently.
Yeah, currently.
All right.
Where you fucked up at is the backcourt. So I'm gonna start Herb at the 2. Probably not gonna do that. I'm gonna start him at the 1. And if I thought he was going to be Draymond Green all of a sudden, but he's not even going to be healthy to start the season. So I'm going to have to integrate him back into the roster slowly,
Wait,
like,
so are we assuming that Willie Green's the coach next season?
Nah.
There's no
so
way.
we're saying he's out.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Well, I mean, then it's hard for me to assume that I can going into next season know that they're running a too big lineup.
See,
I don't know what the hell the next coach wants to do.
Because I guarantee you, Willie don't want to run this too big lineup.
See, that was the point I was going to make. No matter who's the coach next year, Griff is going to say, we've been successful based on this. running a 2 big lineup, even going back to Brandon and the team getting into the playoffs,
And
having
Jax,
a 2 big lineup.
Yeah, at the
This is
four.
going to be a theme for him. Like, oh, we finally have all the answers, and I'm gonna give it to the next coach. Well, this is going to be a disaster.
It's interesting, bro, because like this, I'm just picturing this lineup, right? Because let's just say I take Hawkins out the equation. We got shout out to my dog. We was talking about Elston. I mean, we talking about Antonio Reeves being a Kentucky guard that's not getting no run. And it was like, after I missed out on Therese Maxey, I'm playing any fucking Kentucky guard that joins my team. But this thing about this roster next year, let's say the exact same roster next year, add a lottery pick or whatever. All right, this your starting five. That's to say it's the same starting five right now, right? Same starting five right now. Add Olynyk, put Carlo on the bench. Your second unit, right? You got Jordan Hawkins. Let's say Herb Jones,
Kendrick,
Bruce Brown,
Jose.
Carlo, Antonio Reeves, and a rookie. That's 7 players. Did I say Brandon Boston's name?
No.
That's 8 players that you need to play. One of them is a lottery pick. The other one is Brandon Boston, who's like probably one of your better second unit players. The other one is probably Kelly Olynyk or Carlo Magridge or Yves Missi, however that works out the center position. So that's about 3 guys you need to play. If you just let Bruce Brown walk, which I'm not sure they're gonna do that, just because like I gotta look like I got something for Brandon, even if I repackage him later. Well, let's say they do. Now you still got 7 motherfuckers you need to play. And look, DeJounte Murray is still on the roster. So it's like at least 2-3 of these dudes gotta go.
Like that starting 5 either way isn't really good.
That's not a good team.
Really bad. Yeah, it's just overall just a bad team. Yeah. Well, look, we're 47 minutes in. Smash the like button. We decided to go short tonight. What you
would
got?
y'all start Boston at the point guard? Y'all wouldn't start him at all? No.
Why not?
I only asked because he ran some backup.
He's not the point guard.
You're saying like for the rest of this year? Or like,
no, I'm saying like next year, like
because he's not going to be the point guard.
Handle
I
some
see what you're
guard
doing,
duties.
Chaz, because you get CJ McCollum and Herb Jones there in the second unit. You get some offense, you get some defense. Like CJ bolsters your bench a lot more than Brandon Boston does.
What are you saying? Why is CJ going to the second unit in that scenario? Well, I'm tripping because you're doing a 2 big lineup. Yeah, I'm tripping.
Yeah. Brandon Boston would take CJ's spot.
Oh, no,
that's the point guard.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Yeah, they got to move CJ, dog. they got to move CJ and like 2 other people.
Oh, jeez, that's tough. So, yeah, smash the like button. So we'll be getting live tomorrow. We'll get one more DJ Trauma Gaming. Appreciate you.
Thank you, DJ Trauma.
March 26, 2016 or November 6, 2024, Pels 5. What's worse?
What
is that an injury?
That might be Dante
2016,
Cunningham.
Agenza.
Omer
is that the
Ashik.
Ashik, Agenza, like G?
Tony Douglas. It's probably one of those.
Yeah, 16 worse. 16 worse, man.
16 was the worst. That was rock bottom. That was tough. All right, appreciate y'all. Smash the like button. Once again, Pelicans with 124, 116 over the Suns. They've won 3 in a row. As always, shout out to our sponsors, John Deere, Sunshine Theo, Standard Mortgage, DraftKings. Free tots again. That's 3 days in a row, bro.
Y'all getting y'all carbs up.
Yeah. Scott Vicknair 4D and Blue Moon. We'll see y'all tomorrow night.